Laszlo Klein was only 21 when the life he was so used to was uprooted and thrown into a whirlwind of destruction and death. As a young child growing up in Miskolc, Hungary, times were hard. He was in a family of 5 with his 2 siblings, Paul and Eva. As a member of the lower middle class, the effects from World War I definitely took a toll on his family. His mother Elizabeth and father Sandor worked as merchants, selling supplies and a few clothing items. But as the Hungarian Depression hit, his family lost everything. They went from place to place wherever they could find work. They had a hard life in Hungary because there was a big difference between the people who directed and ruled in the country and the middle lower class. It was hard to make a decent living. Laszlo only attended school from age 8 to age 14. After, he had to help out his family and go to work. As Adolf Hitler's power grew, Laszlo soon noticed his surroundings changing. No longer was he treated the same and compared equally to others around him. Hitler used propaganda to separate the Jews. They were forced to wear yellow bands around their arms, making them seem separate and different. He made people believe that Jews were a different form, a different person, not even human. He created books such as The Poisonous Mushrooms to influence the minds of children and to teach them that Jews were the enemy and the wrong kind of people to be around. In a letter Hitler wrote known as his anti-Semitic writings, we see his demands for a rational and scientific anti-Semitism and a systematic legal combating and elimination of the privileges of the Jews. Hitler believed that Jews were considered a race, not a religious association. Laszlo was only 21 when the Germans completely took over his town in March of 1944. He constantly wondered how this could happen. How could someone just march into a city and take control? New laws and restrictions were now put on Laszlo and the Jewish community. Just like the laws of Nuremberg, Hungary had its own separate set of laws. They stated that non-Jews can't marry other Jews. Jews cannot earn a diploma or even attend a Hungarian university. Sudden restrictions created an even more tense environment. In his city, Laszlo's family had no television, and even radio was a hard thing to come by. The only access to news was the newspaper, except it was completely written by Germans. People who didn't speak German never knew what they were saying, but they could tell from the rude cartoons portraying Jews that the writings were extremely negative. As Kristallnacht was happening through the Eastern Europe, Miskolc did not experience it as bad. Laszlo's parents' store was destroyed and no longer could he attend a school with the non-Jewish children. As the Nazi Party grew closer to the final solution, Laszlo's mother and sister were put into a ghetto located in the western region of Miskolc. They were told that they had to leave everything and go to the ghetto, only being allowed to pack 1 suitcase. Laszlo, his father, and his brother Paul were not put in the ghetto though. They were a part of a unit in Hungary whose mission was to clean up the debris from American bombings on Hungary. Laszlo was only allowed to look at his mother and sister from afar, never allowing to go into the ghetto and visit. One couldn't even imagine what he was going through. Seeing your family trapped like rats and treated like insects, unable to help, not being able to save them. Laszlo and 18 other men were chosen to be in this one unit. The selection process was horrifying and exclusive. Only men, 21 years of age, who could work and who were extremely strong. Just when things couldn't get worse, Laszlo was completely separated from his family. His father and brother's unit was sent to Poland. Laszlo's father spoke Russian, and he along with his brother joined a Russian army squad as a translator. His mother and sister were sent to Auschwitz, never to be seen again. Laszlo would hear stories of people at Auschwitz being shot, poisoned, and gassed. He tried to hope for the best, and only focused on when all of this would end. Laszlo was stuck in Miskolc, forced to continue cleaning up, with no family, and with a broken spirit. Towards the end of 1944, Laszlo's unit was transferred to Budapest. When the war ended and Germany lost its hold, Laszlo left his unit and made a 60-mile walk from Budapest to Miskolc. The whole time, he could only wonder who was left, who was there, and if he would ever be reunited with his family again. In Miskolc, he was reunited with his brother and father. His mother and sister and all his cousins were killed in Auschwitz. Laszlo was now set free, but he was still imprisoned by what he experienced. His mind is now forever branded with the horrible and criminal things he witnessed and experienced in the Holocaust. Leaving Miskolc, Laszlo, his father, and brother didn't know where to go. They left in 1949 and traveled to Vienna, Italy, and Israel. Finally, in 1952, he came to Canada and met the love of his life at a kosher restaurant in Montreal, Canada. Her name was Katie, who is from the same city as Laszlo and who escaped Auschwitz. Together, they vowed to never forget what happened, but in the process, started an amazing generation of children surrounded by love, family, and friends.